Welcome back to the house in Fata Morgana. The crestfallen young man faded into the distance, and the decrepit double doors clacked shut. Through the shattered glass, you could see only the ruins of a garden, not a single rose growing within. Through the shattered glass, you could see only the ruins of a garden. Oh, I just said that. You had evidently returned from the past. In the garden, weeds grew taller than people. You found it difficult to look at. A wolf howled in the distance. The children, the sea of roses, and the white-haired girl were nowhere to be found. You and the maid who called you master were the only people present in the mansion. What happened to them next? Oh, master, you would know better than I. My, you cannot remember? It seems this is quite serious, then. Worry not, my loyalty lies with you, master. The mansion has witnessed more yet. Let us make our way to the second door. Your hand in hers, the maid guided you back through the kitchen and into the tea room. Your palms were still cold. You felt as though you were clenching ice. Master, do you wish to know the truth no matter what may be hidden within? Or if it is something you would be happier not knowing, would you rather remain in the dark? Oh, is that so? I wonder about their father. Yes, the flaxen-haired sibling's father. Do you think he knew about the white-haired girl? If he did, then perhaps he allowed her to stay because of how deeply he loved his wife. Or maybe because he did not want people to find out about her. I expect he too experienced many different emotions. But those pages of his story remain untold. Their parents likely had a turbulent tale as well, but theirs is not of consequence. To whom? I could not tell you. You and the maid crossed through the entrance hall, continuing your trek. At some point, the fire in the fireplace had faded to embers, emphasizing the lack of light within the mansion. The maid took a candlestick and lit it in the cinders. The small flame illuminated her pale face. On a whim, you asked the maid about herself. About me? I am a maid devoted to your service, master, as I have said. Oh, what was that? You're interested in my name. You flatter me. I truly do appreciate the question, but you are more than welcome to simply call me the maid. Also, it would make me much happier to hear you say my name after you have recalled who you are, master. A subtle smile rose to the maid's face, after which she began to lead you down a first-floor corridor. Still holding the maid's hand, you passed in front of a full-length mirror. In it reflected the warm light of the candle, which disappeared out of the rain shortly thereafter. Oh my, is something the matter? Did you come across something peculiar? The maid had not appeared in the mirror, though she was not the only one without a reflection. Ooh. You reached the end of the corridor. There appeared to be a doorway, but the door itself was long since gone, leaving only a hole in the wall to frame the stairs behind it. Without hesitation, the maid descended into the darkness. You have more interest in this mansion, master, than in a mere maid, do you not? Though it pains me to say as much in your presence, master, this house is cursed. Yes, it is a curse that runs deep. As you just bore witness to, the majority of those who dwell within these walls fall into misfortune. I have served here for many years, and periods of happiness are as fleeting as a sugar cube in a cup of hot tea. Why did such tragedies befall them? If I were to guess, master, it was because you had not returned. But when you remember your true self, the mansion's curse should be broken. The next door is before us. It appeared to be the entrance to a cellar. The disconsolate wooden door was visibly rotten in several places, and it seemed it might crumble at a single touch. You could hear the sound of something devouring meat beyond the door. Maybe there was a beast living within. Before you had a chance to say you thought it was dangerous, the maid opened the door with a chilling smile on her face. Your first impression was that it smelled of blood. The second door. 1707. The mansion sat in ruins in that era. Not a soul resided within. The grandeur of the house was lost to the ages. It was in perpetual decline. Not a flower grew in the garden. Dust and dirt blackened the plaster. Cobwebs blanketed the corridors. Ivy shrouded the outer walls. It was not a pleasant sight. As hard as I tried to fight it, I could not stop the mansion's descent into disrepair. The depths of the previous owner's grief, or perhaps despair, was far too much. After the beautiful flaxen-haired family, people stayed away from the mansion. They had no heirs, so their bloodline simply vanished into the depths of history. It had been about 50 years since the house last had a resident. 401 property appeared as though it had been abandoned for centuries, and the occasional villager who stumbled upon it did not remain there for more than a day. My time there was rather solitary. It was perhaps the loneliest time of my life. Everyone who visited the mansion feared it, and it was left without anyone to become its master. I even came to believe that my time serving as a maid would come to an end in this era. However, one day I noticed something out of the ordinary. As a servant of the house, I was almost immediately aware of any new presence within its walls. And there appeared to be someone downstairs. Can you imagine just how delighted I was? No part of me was anxious about what kind of person I might find. The possibility that it could be you hurt my heart to flutter. So, resisting the urge to rush, I headed for the basement. The cellar was where red wine, smoked meat, and other preserved foods were kept. By that point, the wine was practically antique. As I had expected, a man had made his way into the cellar. Is anyone there? Although I am unsure if referring to him as a man is entirely accurate. Oh my, this is quite something. It's a beast. The very first thing I sensed was an almost unbearable stench. The odor emanated from the man, heightened by the food he had carelessly rummaged through. Blood-red liquid spilled from wine barrels, soaking the floor. His sunken eyes had a piercing, wolf-like glimmer in them. His teeth were sharp and yellowed, visible as he ripped into a chunk of meat. He grumbled in a seemingly inhuman tone. I was looking at a beast. Or perhaps a half-beast. There was another source of odor in the room, though. It had something of a kind of metallic tinge to it, and when I noticed this, I nearly passed out. The red liquid was not just wine, as I had assumed. The beast had, I presume, stolen a weapon from the village. A sword far too nice for him to lay on the floor by his side. I could hardly imagine how many people's lives he had taken with that blade. It was visibly wet with blood, even in the darkness of the cellar, but at the same time it had an imposing gleam. The fine, luscious aroma of the wine could not mask the stench of blood in the beast. Holding my breath, I took a few moments to ponder. And what? Oh, master, you know. Tell me, were you summoned here by the mansion? Did you come here knowing what kind of place it is? If you are in want of money, you are welcome to help yourself to some of the furniture. And I imagine the villagers will be willing to welcome you if you dressed yourself up a bit more like a person. Then you can trade the furniture for food and make your way to a larger town. The wolf was able to fool the innocent little girl simply by putting on clothing, after all. Oh dear, I was afraid you wouldn't understand me. What am I to do? I was in quite the predicament. Nevertheless, it meant a great deal to me that I had found someone who did not fear the mansion, be they human or beast. So I decided I should give him my assistance, while doing my best not to agitate him. Say, Could you, perchance, be my new master? So I do remember this part of the story, and unfortunately this is probably one of the worst parts of the story, in my opinion. You might think differently, but I admit, I from what I remember playing this time period, I didn't like it very much. But let me tell you, it gets really good after this. Like once this part stops, it gets real. Like the story really picks up, and I really like it. So eh. The mansion is set near the ocean. Just because the beast is like boring, like he just doesn't really do much. He doesn't talk. He's not like like a real person, I guess. So you don't really get that that back and forth that stories are really made of. To say it was perched upon a cliff might make it sound rather intimidating, but you could see the beautifully clear sea through the windows, a glittering expanse of emerald and turquoise. If the mansion had been in proper condition, it would have been breathtaking against that backdrop. I even wanted to plant orange trees in the garden. Though it was a tumultuous era, the sun still shone bright upon the land, which only served to emphasize the house's unsightliness. Oh yes, perhaps I should give you some more background information. At that period in time, a war had just drawn to a close. The once gorgeous wetlands were infested with crows picking at decaying remains. Bodies of soldiers fallen in battle continually washed upon the shores of the coastal villages. The people wanted nothing more than for the curtain to draw on that deeply political contest. And when it finally did, the kingdom, with its richly fertile shores, was stripped of its independence, beginning a new era under new rule. The people were exhausted, their spirits wasted away, and the splendor of the ocean and sky did nothing to help. In my mind, the beast was emblematic of the times, emaciated and enveloped in the scent of blood. But the war came to an end. Thus the beast did not have to remain a beast, I thought. Did he? And so I endeavored to make the beast more human-like. First, I needed to do something about his appearance. I would draw a bath, scrub away all the filth, and dress him in clothing left in the mansion. However, having sat unused for 50 years, the majority of garments had been devoured by insects and were of little use. So I searched the mansion top to bottom for anything the beast could wear, heated up some coals, and set to work ironing what I found. At the time, steam irons had not yet been invented, and we used plates of iron heated with coals. These somewhat resembled kettles. I even prepared meals for the beast in order to teach him proper table manners. Although, with the mansion in an uninhabitable state of disarray, there was only so much I could do in the kitchen. And the only supplies I had to work with were what were left in the cellar. As such, I was not able to put to use the cooking skills I had learned in the fox-and-haired family's time. Now, you mustn't eat with your hands. Do you want your face to get dirty? You eat using a knife and fork. See, like this. Feels like I'm teaching a young child. Oh my, what are you holding your head for? Oh dear. Perhaps I should be teaching you to speak before table manners. Worry not, we have plenty of time. You needn't act so frightened. Or perhaps you do not want to be understood at all. Would you be so kind as to tell me your name? You are for now still a guest. It is too soon for me to call you master. Or am I mistaken? Your name. That is what people call you. How about I start by telling you my name? I am called... Yeah, alright. Bestia. Bestia. Your name is Bestia? I see. Then that is what I shall call you, Bestia. My, you seem to be rather perplexed as to how I was still alive. He had in fact attempted to cause me harm. However, I am a servant of the house. The beast called himself Bestia. It is a curious thing. When I learned his name, it seemed to take on a new importance in my mind. He was not a mere beast, but the thing called Bestia. Master? Should I ever have the chance to hear your name, I am certain you too shall become more substantial a presence. But you must always remember, Master, that even if you do not remember your name, and even if you never know mine, you have always held a special place in my heart. And thus began my tranquil days with Bestia. Slowly he began to learn the human tongue. And I was, to be quite honest, rather thrilled. To be certain, I was afraid of the beast. But my fear was not so strong as my elation that there was someone else in the mansion, someone to whom I could speak, and someone that might become my new master. Come now, you must pull weeds out at the roots or they will soon grow back. This is a task that requires perseverance. You do it like this, see? There you go. Grass. Oh, did you not expect that? What appears to be many plants on the surface is actually all connected within the soil. This is a task that requires a man's strength. If there were other servants, they could do it, so I apologize for making you tend to the garden, future master. Or perhaps now that you are all dressed up, do you wish to leave the mansion and find someone to fool, as the wolf did the sweet little girl? Have you no interest in remaining in such a disheveled house? Go on. Not want leave. Oh my, is that so? If you wish to stay, then I shall not stop you. On the contrary, I will gladly attend to you. I am waiting for the person who is to become my master. Forever waiting. I should be able to watch over you until the day you depart this world, old and wrinkled. Do you not believe me? Are you interested in becoming the master of this house? Will be. I have to wonder if you know what you're saying. Although it matters little whether you do or not. Oh my, look at that. Now this brings back memories. This is called a rose. Do you know what a rose is? It is a type of flower. Not know. Do not know. I see. Then allow me to teach you. What you have here is not a real rose. The real rose is wilted and are sleeping in the soil. This is called an accessory. It is something women wear. The beast held an ornamental white rose in his hands, an object someone sometime meant to give to someone else. Curiously, the white rose was just as stunning as it had been the day it was made, despite being buried in the earth for so many years. I hear roses make wonderful gifts. He stared intently at the decorative rose. I had presumed the beast would either discard it disinterestedly or destroy it. But much to my surprise, Bestia held it gently in his hands, as though it was something precious to him. Are you perchance considering giving it to me? So you are not. Very well. Is there someone else you would like to give it to? In that moment, a thought floated through my mind. The thing I had found in a pool of blood in the cellar was a monstrous creature indeed. But perhaps that was not, at his core, what he truly was. So I asked him a question. What is it that you desire, Bestia? This mansion fulfills people's desires. If you yearn for something, want, live, peace. Look at that filthy thing. A beast. It's a beast. It's eating goddamn sand. You really that hungry? Beast, you foul creature. Stay the hell back. get any closer, filthy beast, and I'll kill you. Several days passed by. As Beastia began to act more like a person, the mansion followed suit, slowly becoming more habitable, though not yet back to its former glory. No flowers grew in the garden, but neither were there weeds infesting it. The dusty corridors, shattered windows, rust-covered kitchens gradually returned to their proper states. Beastia learned how to change his own clothes and how to draw a bath. No longer did I have to wait on him hand and foot. He could take care of a number of things all by himself. What we lacked for food, he acquired from the forest. Never did he go purchase supplies from the village. Rather, he captured hares and gathered herbs hidden in the overgrowth. There were days without incident. And though such a life may be wont for excitement, peace is something that you mustn't take for granted. Those who have it cast it aside, finding the leisurely flow of time dull. Only those who have never experienced it truly know how precious it is. Beastia appeared to be content. He wore an expression of solitary serenity. "Someone! Is anyone there?" And then one day a crack formed in the uneventful tranquility. "Is anyone in there? Could you part with some food? I don't need much. Some food and water. Just a little, that's all I need." Beastia looked over at me as if seeking my aid. Ironic, no? It was the visitor who was truly in need of aid. I pondered it for a few moments, deciding that I could not simply turn away someone calling upon the mansion. Had Beastia ordered me to not let him in, I would have followed his instructions, but he said nothing. Oh, thank God, someone's here. I was afraid it was deserted. You said you were in need of sustenance? Yes. It doesn't have to be much. Anything to quench this thirst. I got lost, and it's been several days. Give me a few minutes. I will find... Let him in. A firm, deep voice came from behind me. I was quite startled. When had the beast learned to act so much like a human? When had he learned to speak so clearly and to behave so much like a master? On seeing Beastia, a look of terror appeared to cross the wanderer's face for a moment. To my eyes, Beastia was the very image of a head of house, but to an outsider, he probably appeared to be nothing more than a beast in man's clothing. Prepare him a meal and a bed. I suspect he is quite tired. Thank you very much. But in time, the fear drained from the man's face. Beastia sat precariously on the border between man and beast. Though he still had his doubts, the wanderer revised his first impression, deciding Beastia was human. As the wolf had fooled the little girl in the forest, he too had succeeded in playing the role of a man. I thought I was a goner for a while there, but you really came to the rescue. And a meal like this on top of that? You really didn't have to. Though I guess that's not an appropriate thing to say as I'm eating. What kind of meat is this? Hare. It's damn tender for rabbit. And here I thought it was beef. You are quite the skilled chef. Oh, is she the one who cooked this? Is she your wife? Oh, no, I am merely a servant. Female servant, huh? Don't see that very often. This mansion is just full of surprises. I can hardly believe it. Lost for days, and as soon as I think I'm dead, there it is. Looking back on it now, it's miraculous. But why are you two living alone in a house on a cliff? Oh, I beg your pardon. Asking so many questions without telling you about myself. My apologies. Just a little too excited to finally see other people. I'm a merchant. I do international trade. Until a few years back, spice exports pretty much all came from one place. But now that we've established trade routes of our own, my country's fighting tooth and nail to push its exports. And in fact, some have lost a few teeth in the fight already. But that's just how it works. It's a cutthroat world. You do what you must to survive. That's just how it works, the merchant said. The sorrowful look on his face. He was quite clearly putting on a show, though. Confidence in himself and his homeland radiated from that man. I came to this land to do business, but much to my chagrin, I somehow ended up lost in the forest. Had I wandered around for much longer, I'd have lost the chance to ever see my beloved again. Your beloved. Sir, I'm constantly out on business, so we only get to see each other a few times a year. But she always waits for my return. I'd like to introduce you to her if I ever get the chance. She's a pretty girl, not especially striking. Is that so? The merchant was a man of many words, and I, for one, do not mind a lively supper table. Though I know not how Bestia felt, at the very least I was glad we had invited the wanderer into the mansion. He was, after all, holding a proper conversation with someone, and he seemed to be having success concealing his piercing, beast-like gaze. However... Oh right, I stopped by the village before entering the forest, and I heard a bone-chilling tale there. As soon as the merchant brought up the subject, a palpable tension spread through the room. They say there have been sightings of a beast. A creature like anything anyone's ever seen before. Not a wolf or a bear or anything like that. It even attacked the village once, killing several people. Thankfully, the men managed to drive it out. The creature's still alive. There's nothing in this world scarier than a vicious beast. Uh-oh. So you should keep an eye out. Wouldn't want to accidentally let a murderous beast into your home. At the villager's insistence, I had the smithy forge me a knife. Is that knife? Huh? With you now? Well, yeah, I've got it on me. Only good to defend myself with, but it's better than... That knife. You brought that knife. We're here to kill me with that knife. What? You're going to stab me again and again with that knife like they did last time. That's why you're here, isn't it? What are you talking about? What's gotten into you? Stab and stab and stab? Calm down. What are you so worried about? I'm not going to hurt you with this. What did you just say? Ah! I'd like to imagine that before the wolf ate the poor little girl, he said, "Is this what I always looked like?" That beast. What's your problem? What's wrong? Talk like a human. It is me. Stop! Stay back! Get any closer and I'll stab you to death. You act like you only just realized I'm a beast. Yeah. That's right, I'm a beast. I killed them. Stay back. And I'll do the same to you. Help! In his hand, Bestia held his sword. Perhaps it had been hidden under the table, or maybe behind his chair. Regardless, it was as though he had expected this to happen. The merchant kicked aside a chair, attempting to flee, but Bestia closed his distance in an instant, knocking him back. He lost his balance and slammed against the wall, but still he made to escape, though the beast stood blocking his path. No, please stop this. Don't kill me. My beloved is waiting for me back home. I can't leave her behind. And why should I care? A dreadful scream echoed through the dining room. I reflexively covered my ears. Please help! Ain't someone, anyone! No one's going to come for you. This mansion's a long way from town. Oh, there's a woman. Where did she... Why isn't she here? She was just... You'll kill me. If I don't kill you, and so I must show you that I will. I must show you that I'm serious. I must kill you or you won't understand. You just won't understand. If I don't show you firsthand, you won't understand. And I'll make you understand. I'll make your flesh and bones understand. Kill. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Kill you. Monster. That's right, I am. A beast. They had been enjoying a peaceful meal around the table together just minutes earlier. So what had triggered this? If I were to guess, the merchant saying the word knife is what caused the beast to snap. A simple, small thing set him off. I could not comprehend it. Bestia, who had said he wished for peace, was staring down at the ravaged corpse of the merchant, with a look of ecstasy on his face. Master, can you understand how he felt? Even just a little? Did he not yearn for peace, but for slaughter?